Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Smut Club, the podcast where smut is better with friends.
And yes, it is.
And yes, it is.
Y'all, before we hit record, I was just the blessed, lucky recipient of a truly remarkable, from memory, monologue that Katie Bird was quoting to me. Would you mind, for the people of the pod, circling back? Let's see if people can guess it.
Okay. I mean, they are, but
no, they're not.
These are the first few lines of dialogue from a very popular romantic comedy.
Too many clues.
Okay, so it opens up. What you want is what you see, and you can bet it's worth it, baby. And you can just picture
Amazing.
words flying across the screen. It's the early 2000s.
Early aughts.
We come in.
Good vibes.
Camera. It's on a Word document with like a block of writing.
You can see.
Yes. And a voice comes in. And then, and only then, will the people of Tajikistan know true and lasting peace. It's beautiful, Andy, but it's never going to appear in Composure magazine. God, I busted my butt in grad school. And for what? To be Andy Anderson, how-to girl. To write articles like, how to use the best pickup lines, and do blondes, do they, like, really have more fun?
Aw.
Keep busting your butt. You're going to get there.
You literally know all the words.
I wasn't lying last week when I said that I know the whole, like, first part of that movie.
That brings me so much joy. One, why am I surprised? You know all of Taylor Swift's songs, which is entire works of poetry. Of course, you also have memorized all of the lines to How to Lose a... Spoiler, it's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, if you didn't figure it out, that was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy. She was just sitting here just quoting it, and I'm like, that brings me joy.
Do blondes, do they, like, really have more fun?
Do they really have more fun?
She says as a blonde, beautiful woman.
As Andy Anderson, yes. Incredible. Well, y'all, we go back and listen to last week's episode if you're curious. We really unpack which Taylor Swift eras we are on the inside and on the outside. Sometimes they don't match up. Sometimes they're different.
Sometimes.
There's a sun and a rising. Sometimes the rage is just inside and outside.
It's just present.
Sometimes she's
you want to
deceiving.
call out your ex-boyfriends live on the podcast.
Any man who's ever harmed. Exactly. So, yes, I go back and listen to us go through some really riveting BuzzFeed quizzes.
And not get frustrated at all.
Yeah, not get frustrated at all with how many. I mean, we probably took those a dozen times.
Yeah, the website kept crashing. I wanted to die.
Ticketmaster there was a glitch for sure.
Yeah.
But this week we are reviewing.
Oh yes, we are reviewing Cleat Cute. Happy Pride Month, folks!
Huzzah! Cleat Cute is by Meryl Wilsner. And they have a few other they have a few other books that I have not read. This is my first Meryl Wilsner book. This book was recommended at my birthday brunch.
That's right.
By Hope.
By Hopi.
Yes. And because she had just finished it, and it's adorable.
It's adorable. It's super, super sweet. Yeah, she was like, I just read this, like, woman-loving women, like, precious little rom-com, and we were like, that's the one we're going to do.
We will be reviewing that for Pride Month. We also, she had just finished Ted Lasso. She's camping right now, or else we would have her on the pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously. But had just finished Theodore Lasso.
Yes.
And so
she came to brunch just
fresh off the heels.
Fresh off of finishing Ted Lasso, which is a bold move.
That is a bold move. That calls for an espresso martini indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Truly. Yes.
I made so many good choices that day.
I did too. Financially... Yeah.
Financially, alcohol-centered decision-making.
Yeah. We were in tip-top shape. I have got here on our Goodreads account, I was saying earlier that as I had my phone pulled up, Savannah, our friend, liked our review.
Oh, what an angel.
I know. So we got a sweet little notification right as we were recording. This is the book description for Cleat Cute. Cleat obviously is soccer. Cleat.
Two soccer players.
For the uninitiated, that's a soccer cleat. Did you play soccer?
Hell no.
Oh my God. I played a couple of years. I wasn't good at it.
Oh, it's such a hard sport. So much running.
I did have a scrunchie, though. So I sewed a lot. My mom sewed. And,
a very scrunchy-centered sport.
Very scrunchy-centered. This was early aughts. Or maybe even before that. How old was I? That's not the point. And my scrunchie was blue, and it had soccer balls on it. So that's very cute.
That is super cute.
It's very cute. I mean, if you're gonna play a sport, you
do
need to have
fashionably.
Braids and hairstyles come. They are very much a centered theme in this adorable book. But okay, cutie pie. Little description on Goodreads in my breathy reading books.
As always.
Oh no, we have a GRE word straight out the gate. A sapphic rivals.
So that word comes up a lot in the book, and I did not look it up because I was like, I'm not dumb. I know words.
It's a sex thing.
Sexual attraction or activity between women.
Oh, that's why.
It's a gay thing. Lesbians, chime in.
Oh, that is so fun. I love learning new things. I especially love learning new things about during Pride Month. This brings me a lot of joy.
We're here to learn, folks.
These are things to learn. That's hilarious to me. Okay, a sapphic rivals to lovers rom-com for fans of Ted Lasso and A League of Their Own. Sports.
Athletic people
doing athletic things. Where two soccer teammates are at odds before falling in love as their team gears up for the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most I've ever learned about soccer, and I watched all of Ted Lasso.
Okay. Sorry, full disclosure to our international listeners. I don't know anything about soccer.
It's so unsophisticated of us.
Yeah, I'm not cool. I don't understand football.
Oh my god. We have
I don't know the rules.
There's a league here that our friends have season tickets to, and that's so cool. I'm so happy for them.
I don't get it.
Jay played
I love media around soccer and football, not American football.
I love the Spice Girls.
Love the Spice Girls. Sporty Spice, is that your girl?
Victoria Beckham. She's married to a soccer player.
Yes, bend it like Beckham.
Yeah.
Is that also a lesbian movie about soccer?
I think so. Back to the review. Dear God. We will get to the main character of this book, and it will make more sense why I'm just letting my neurospice just bleed out all over this. I'm one sentence in. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
3 days later. Grace Henderson has been a star of the U.S. women's national team for 10 years, which she's 26.
Yeah.
She started at 16.
She's like a lifelong pro, like didn't go to high school, like pro soccer player.
That's bonkers.
Was bred
to me.
To play soccer.
That's wild to me. And I mean,
it's like a Simone Biles. Like you're born and then your life is just gymnastics. Like you just train and build your body.
Developmentally, that would really.
So it's interesting.
If I were raising a child, I mean,
Grace doesn't know how to interact with people.
It's interesting that she has some social challenges. No, it's just such a fascinating position to be in because, like, if your child wants to do it, I don't know, I could pontificate about that. But, like, to have a 16-year-old just like, nope, you're just going to go live in this alternate reality.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a regular...
Lived apart. Like, they were married, but they lived apart, so Grace could train. And, like, I mean, they dedicated... And parents are super supportive. I loved her dad.
Yeah,
that whole
adorable.
scene with her dad was super, super sweet.
And she's, like, healthy. It's just, like, wow.
Yeah.
To uproot, and people do this all the time, whether it's for Taylor Swift, for the music industry, or like
for sure. It is wild to me, like people who do like professional sports, professional athletes. They have their body is like a machine. Like they talk about a lot. Like you have to take your body is your job. Like you have to take care of it if you want to keep doing this.
It's real. Yeah,
they do be eating beignets though, which I loved.
They have a good time. Yeah, it was such an interesting. It made me think many times of how working in mental health, my mental health is my tool for my job.
Yes,
I have to be well in order to do this. I
have to be okay.
Mindfuck of a job. And so yeah, it's an interesting. Yeah, this was a really vivid step into this world, which I appreciated. Mm-hmm. There's a lot about soccer. A lot. Okay, so she's only 26. But when she's sidelined with an injury, a bold new upstart, Phoebe Matthews, takes her spot. Phoebe. Lost my place. Phoebe is everything Grace isn't. A gregarious jokester. My middle name. gregarious jokester, who plays with a joy that Grace lost somewhere along the way. The last thing Grace expects is to become friends with benefits with this class clown she sees as her rival. Grace didn't see that coming. That was such a shock to Grace.
I love that Grace didn't even know that they were dating. And
that was my favorite. That was the best part of the book.
She was like, oh.
That was so fucking funny.
Phoebe was like, we talked about it.
She's like, I thought you were in on this joke.
Phoebe has this...
spoiling the whole plot of this book. It's so funny.
She has this whole revelation. She's like, oh my God, she's my girlfriend. And Grace is like, wow, she's so nice to me. She hangs out at my place all the time.
Like the first night that they had the exclusive talk. She's like, Grace Henderson's my girlfriend. Grace Henderson's my girlfriend. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And then 6 months later, oh, that was so funny.
I loved it.
Very sweet. The neurospice was alive and well.
All over the place.
Oh, so cute. So she didn't see this coming. Phoebe Matthews has always admired Grace's skill and was starstruck to be training alongside her idol. But she quickly finds herself looking at Grace as more than a mere teammate.
She's hot.
She's hot, and she had her poster above her bed.
Which I loved. I love that.
Cute. After one daring kiss, she's hooked. Grace is everything she has been waiting to find. As the World Cup approaches and Grace works her way back from injury, the women, plural,
2 women.
the women decide to find a way they can play together instead of vying for the same position. That was sweet.
Love that.
That was like, build a longer table.
Get a mean girl out of the way.
Yeah. Plot the demise of a mean girl and take her spot. And so they all can play together.
And flee on the same team as your girlfriend.
That was really, really cute.
I loved.
Except when they are off the field, Grace is worried she's catching feelings while Phoebe thinks they're dating. As the tension between them grows, will both players realize they care more about their relationship than making the roster? I don't know.
How's it going to end up, folks?
What will happen? Okay, the Smut Club has already reviewed this. Wow, the Smut Club sure is efficient. The
Last
Smut
night
Club only finished this yesterday.
About 11 p.m. The Smut Club started this yesterday and finished it yesterday.
Incredible. Neurotypical, but amazing.
Is that neurotypical?
That's summer break.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, breathy reading voice. Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner is a women-loving women romantic comedy that is absolutely bursting with cuteness.
Precious.
It is really adorable. This book stars soccer legend Grace Henderson, who couldn't possibly be bothered with the team's newest blood, fiery redhead, Phoebe Matthews. Phoebe Matthews' hair.
Love.
I wanted to run my fingers through.
I know. It sounded so thick. She's like, it's not curly, but it's thick, and it's wavy, but it's not.
I have the finest, straightest hair. It's like the goal of my life to like have more texture and more curl in my hair. And I just admire anyone. Anyway, we're talking about our hair texture. People are going to figure out who we are. They're going to Google
curly haired white women from Tennessee.
Exactly. But no, this morning at a bar class, there was a girlie with such red curly, just magic. Red hair is unparalleled. Red hair is so cool. But Phoebe Matthews, the third main character of this book, was Phoebe's hair.
Yes.
Grace and Phoebe could not be more different. Grace is structured, timely, organized, and bound by her routines, while Phoebe is scattered, often running late. Wish I could relate. And can't seem to ever rid herself of an ear-to-ear grin, particularly when she has a soccer ball at her feet. Very cute.
Super cute. I love
strong golden retriever energy.
Yes, and I'm sure I highlighted it, but it was like I just feel so like great when I can focus when I have a soccer ball with my feet. Even my teachers would let me put it if it didn't get away from me. I'm like, that's an accommodation, baby girl.
That's desperation of an educator. For the love of God, just do what you've got to do.
As long as you keep it under your desk, you could have it under your feet.
Let me tell you the things that I would allow kids to do if it meant that they would
the things I've suggested kids do. I'm like, okay, as long as it's not distracting in your class, like, can you hold this ring and pinch it until it hurts a little bit, and that way you can focus on something else.
Well, and the reason you have to get so specific is that you're writing that shit into a legally binding document. That this child...
Student can have soccer ball on their desk.
Student is permitted by law to have this accommodation. I swear it's legit. So help me God. I just trust me.
Yeah,
let her have the soccer ball.
We'll write in things like, provided it's not a classroom distraction, please allow student access to...
Exactly.
Long list. So many things.
So many things. Yes, we will get into it, but it's such a fun, yeah. Our two FMCs tumble into a hot as hell friends with benefits relationship. Friends with benefits. So Phoebe never thought of this as a friends with benefits situation.
Well, she said it, and then she was like, never mind, we're dating.
There was a will they, won't they for like 5 seconds, and it's like, oh, they are. Hot as hell friends with benefits relationship that has seemingly no differences from an actual romantic relationship, but we won't tell them that. Grace and Phoebe continually support each other through injuries, struggles, and triumphs, and growing their strengths as professional athletes. Throughout the book, we walk alongside our two FMCs as they each make their own self-discoveries, whether that be an ADHD diagnosis or the unfathomable idea that they may very well be in love with their teammate.
Shocking.
Also, that one of them may not want to play professional soccer for the rest of their life. Yeah. If you're in for an angst-free, super sweet, joy-filled romance, Cleat Cute is the one for you. There is no third act breakup, and the spice is early and ongoing, and there are a variety of LGBTQIA plus characters taking up space and holding pride in their queerness. It's a thread all the way through that there is such inclusion and unapologetic just celebration.
Yeah.
It reminded me in some ways of, is it Daniel Levy? What's David Levy? What's,
Dan?
Well, that's the dad. Oh, Eugene is the dad. Dan Levy is the son on Schitt's Creek. It reminds me of when he's been interviewed about Schitt's Creek, he's said, like, I want for there to be a storyline about gay love that's not
traumatic.
That's not about, like, oh, this is such a hardship.
Yeah.
Like, or that the main point of the story isn't that they're overcoming and that they're coming out and that, like, just love.
Yeah. I like red wine. I also like white wine.
I like the wine.
Not the label.
Like, it's about the wine, not the label. Yeah.
I love that.
But it's just, is it Meryl? Yeah, Meryl covered that really well. It was a beautiful way to, celebrate.
I love.
Without making it this big hard thing. Also, there is something to be said for a queer romance in which coming out is not a main plot. You literally said it right there.
Yeah, I forgot that.
You literally, the next sentence, yes. Coming out's not the main plot point. Happy Pride Month, y'all. So cute.
Yes. So there is a very, very small coming out plot, but Grace was already out, but she came out to the public.
As a
gesture to Phoebe to show that she's committed. But it's
cute.
not, there's no, like, traumatic, like, non-affirming anything in this book. It is just, like, people existing as people, which is great. And I loved it.
That's a great point. Like, this is a safe, like, this is not a triggering, scary, like, oh, nobody feels unsafe.
Yeah.
Which we love. Such a great one. We gave it 4 stars, 4 out of 5. Explain 4 out of 5. I don't understand. Every week we talk about this where I'm like, this is an arbitrary way to rate books.
It is. I mean, it's not. I like the book, obviously. I don't know. 5 just always feels like this is the best.
5 is as high as you can go,
right?
And it's so like, what books would even be a 5-star book?
I mean, we've given
Fourth Wing
5. I'm sure.
I know. Now I want to know. And what does it take to be a 5-starer?
Book Lovers, we gave 5, which I still stand by that. Love Theoretically, we gave 5. Tessa Bailey, It Happened One Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, we both gave 5.
For sure. Fourth Wing, 5.
So I think these are books where the plot and the spice, they were just adding up to make that perfect formula that we love here on the Smut Club.
Under One Roof, the Stimulant novellas, those are so fun. Yeah, I feel like we're not just icebreaker. We're not just littering that Love Theoretically. We're not just, like, giving them out like candy, but, okay, Cleat Cute.
Let's do it. All right. The dedication, I love a dedication. I always read the dedication. It's super important to me.
Oh, yes, I'm so curious about this. Read it.
You're curious about this?
Maybe I'm thinking of another book.
Okay. So, the dedication is, it's just a quote. You can't win a championship without gays on your team. It's pretty much never been done before, ever. That's science right there. I agree.
You said dedication. I meant this.
Oh.
What is it? This is...
Oh, that is the dedication. I guess this is just like... Oh,
an opening
it's called
epigraph.
Epigraph.
Yes, everybody. So, Megan Rapinoe, she has the cool hair.
Oh.
If I saw a picture of her, I'd be like, I know who this soccer player is. The dedication is for Ashley, comma, and so. What does it mean?
Meryl, tell us what that means.
Is this
for Ashley and so?
They're married to, like, it says
they're married to
they're
Ashley?
married to a wife. Because I read like the back, like the little author. So I'm like, is this?
There's also
it's obviously an inside joke.
There's no punctuation, so I wonder if it's like, and so here's the story, you know.
Oh, maybe. That'd be cute.
Yeah.
I've just never... It seems like an inside joke, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm curious, though.
It's
Meryl,
cutie.
let us know.
Hey, Meryl.
We gotta know it.
Okay, on page 10. So, the moment that Grace sees Phoebe, she's like, I would like to touch that hair.
It's a sensory need.
Yes.
So cute.
After years of experience with her younger sister, she's been designated hair braider on the team for almost as long as she's been it, which is super sweet. I love that. I think for soccer and softball too, like they always have French braids. It's so cute.
So girlhood.
I love it.
It's so fun.
Grace can get Matthew's hair in order. 2 French braids starting on either side of that middle part and connecting into a ponytail. She's like, I gotta fix that hair. It's all over the place.
There's too much chaos. That was the sweetest. Just to see, like, and we alternate perspectives for each chapter, and it's fun how, like, the cadence and the rhythm of their inner monologue is different for each.
Yes.
This is very, like, clipped and funny to me. But Grace is it's just... She sees the chaos on top of Phoebe's head, and she says, something must be done with it.
And she's like, my soccer coach told me that they would make us run if we had to push our hair out of our faces.
So for the rest of her life, her hair is out of her face.
Yes.
And Phoebe, her hair is not out of her face. It must be fixed.
Get out of your face.
I say this with so much affection. I love people like this. I am not. And so it brings me a lot of joy.
Yes. I love it.
There's a real A plus B equals C.
It's logic.
Grace. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Next page. Grace is immediately annoyed. Just immediately.
Grace would hate me.
No, she would love you, apparently.
Maybe. It's so I yes, continue. Sorry.
Grace was on the stationary bike. She might as well have stayed for Matthew's assessment. The redhead talks loudly enough that Grace can hear the whole conversation. Oh, no. Nope, no pain. I had Osgood slatters, I don't know what that is, in my right knee as a kid. It still sometimes aches when it rains, but not like every time it rains. And even then it's not bad or limiting. It's just achy. And I just want to make sure that you knew.
I don't like this day. I don't like the whole day. The whole day.
The whole day is bad. It's a wash.
because we just, this whole book really, as I was reading it, I'm like, I don't need this. Listeners, this is just, I am neurospicy as hell. I have raging ADHD, was diagnosed as an adult. Sadly, we'll get into it, I'm sure. But
yes.
This is how I talk. I talk like Phoebe, yes, and it's a problem. And I'm medicated.
It's not a problem. Yeah, Phoebe's not medicated. And Grace is like, oh my God.
It's very cute. We'll get into it. It's so very cute.
She wants to make sure Ilse knows a lot of things, apparently, like how she has a younger brother named Teddy and an older sister named Alice, and no pets right now, but she's more of a dog person than a cat person, though she loves both. Grace tries not to listen. She didn't know it was possible for someone to talk more than fish. Oh, she's so annoying. She's just annoying me.
I didn't know it was possible for someone to talk that much.
Just so much talking. She just keeps talking.
Yeah. Like, apparently, and it is kind of this fascination. I listened to this podcast.
What?
A while ago, and it is about this. This is related, I promise. This magical elixir that happens between. It's just this weird one. Okay, caveat. Myers-Briggs is. I don't stand by everything Myers-Briggs. There's some things about it that are fun, that are enjoyable.
Sometimes if you find it helpful, just help understand yourself.
Yeah, sure. But there's some eugenics background. It is what it is. But So if we take that out, INTJs, which is very much like a introvert, intuitive, thinking, judging.
That's A.
Is that
A is
yes.
an INTJ. Yeah.
So an INTJ is this very Grace energy.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I like Grace.
And an ENFP. So an ENFP is extroverted, intuitive, feeling and perceiving. So an ENFP is me. And so that's a Phoebe energy, and it's there. But the podcast and like what people are, they interviewed a whole bunch of folks, and we could try to link this podcast. I don't know how to find it again, but it was this beautiful, like, these are two ends of a spectrum, like this not rigid, but like more structured, detail oriented, and then like this chaos demon. And apparently this happens over and over and over across friendships, across relationships. Like, this is actually a pretty common pairing.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. And it is a fun, I mean, it's why we love Enemies to Lovers. It's why we love Grumpy Sunshine.
Yeah, it's the tension.
Yeah, it's the like differences that like bring you together, and it's just so.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that similar energy with this little couple we got here.
Yeah, I'm an ESFJ.
Ooh,
So.
yes, we've covered this. But,
Yes. Ooh, yes.
ooh, yes. But it's like, I mean, everyone is different. We can't just categorize people with 4 letters. But
Yeah. So A and I are opposites except for J, and I think that's probably the main reason that we work, because we're both require structure and a schedule and a routine. That's the J part of that.
yeah, I don't.
I know.
Oh no.
But that's also part of why this friendship works, because I'm very uptight, and
I'm not.
sometimes I need to not be so fucking uptight.
And it might shock and amaze us all, but sometimes I need some structure.
It works, folks. It works.
So anyway, that will be a theme throughout this book. It's very cute. But Grace, just straight out the gate, even like the rhythm of her chapter is like, I'm interested. I'm thinking about Phoebe.
I like this,
I'm curious.
but it's annoying me.
It's a lot. But
She doesn't ever stop talking. But I want to listen to her talk.
She has
I
a lot
don't
to
like
say.
it when she talks to her.
I feel things when she talks to Kelsey.
Okay, on page 14, training hasn't officially started when Matthews barrels up to the sideline and slides, her cleats dangling from one hand. But in Grace's opinion, if you're not early, you're late. I'm here, Matthews shouts.
I'm just here. Like, that's what we should all be grateful for.
Grace sighs that she can't imagine being late in the first place, much less announcing it when she arrives.
Why are you laughing, Katie?
Well, in this instance, I feel so deeply connected to Grace. I was like, oh no. Why would you announce that you're late? Just sneak in.
Oh
my God.
I just don't, you just have to learn to cope with it. It's just, and part of it is, like, the neurospices have to learn to cope with always being late, and part of it is just announcing it.
Just, I'm here.
I acknowledge that I'm late.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
so
Grace
good.
immediately is like, you can't do that. Grace is team captain, by the way.
Yes. Okay, page 15. Sorrel, who is used to Grace's game face, has no problem approaching her as they wait for their turn to lunge across the field. I thought you weren't captain here, she says. Grace shrugs. She'll be Matthew's captain on the crew and might as well act like it here too. She has a feeling Matthews is going to need a firm hand. Ma'am.
Hot.
She's like, I'm not very flirty. I think you are.
So hot, Grace.
Who says that? Who thinks that?
Who?
She's going to need a firm hand. Grace.
Yeah, that was immediately. She was like, I need her hair to be fixed. This isn't, I'm fascinated, but something's got to give here.
All right, so on page 18, this is where I made my note. Phoebe is a neurospicy baby. And this is before I even knew that this was going to be a plot point of the book.
It's just, yeah, it's alarmingly clear.
Page 18. When Phoebe was growing up, more often than not, she had a soccer ball at her feet. Other kids had fidget spinners for their extra energy. Phoebe had her soccer ball. She zipped it in her backyard every morning before sprinting to make the bus. After school, she'd dribble it the entire 1.5-mile walk home. She had a few teachers who would let her keep it beneath her desk during class as long as it didn't get away from her. Phoebe got really good at not letting it get away from her.
So cute.
Super cute. This is one that's an accommodation your teacher gave you. She's like, if you can focus, listen to what I'm saying, learn math,
then please, I'll do anything.
Also, this is a hyperfixation.
Yeah, 100. I mean, it's lasted for a long time.
She's hyper focused on soccer and also beating everybody.
Yeah, it's just, it never ceases to amaze me how, and this is not an advice podcast. This is not all the disclaimers. The number one treatment for ADHD is exercise.
Yeah. You just got to move.
It's just, you just got to move your damn body. And it's just, it changed my life. Truly. And I mean, especially for folks socialized as female, we'll get into it. But yeah, because we expect the boys to be busy, and to be hyperactive and to move. But sometimes women who are socialized as female growing up, and then they're kind of socialized to be more still, even if their minds and bodies need to move a lot more.
Right.
And so you get socialized to learn to sit still and to learn to, because there are higher social consequences to being wild and crazy when you're socialized as a woman in our terrible culture. And so it's just I loved this thread of her knowing that soccer helps her regulate her emotions and pay attention.
See it when her perspective, and like she gets into a game and then she's like, everything goes quiet. Everything in my brain is quiet, and all I think about is the game.
It's so beautiful. And I'm sure we'll have listeners who have ADHD, but if you don't, this is a great way to learn about it, because this is an excellent kind of description of how it feels. But it's achieving the optimal level of sensory input that allows you to be able to pay attention is just a real challenge.
Yeah, my one of my coworkers has a daughter who was diagnosed late in life with ASD and ADHD, both. And so, I mean, she knew for a long time. She was like, something's happening. But like every day when she would get home from school, she would just run laps around the house, because she spent all day sitting still, trying to focus. Like, great student, super high achieving. But then when she get home, she would just have to run. I might cry on this podcast, but it's just like, it should be noted that that's kind of traumatic to have to sit still when you need to move your body, like to not be able to meet your needs of your body is really hard, because other people, like the teachers and the other kids in the class, I didn't go to traditional school, but like I've been at that age, like I was in circles. But you have been in school.
Yeah. And it's,
as an adult,
it's really physically painful. And so it's hard to, it's like so silly and fun that like she gets to run around, but also that's 8 hours of trauma, like of having to deny what your body needs to regulate. And so, wow, we live in a very neurotypical world.
Yes, we do.
And we need as many accommodations as possible to bring some equality.
Yes, for sure.
Because we're all of it's valid.
All right. On page 20, so there's this thing that the team has to do to measure aerobic capacity called the beef test, which sounds fucking horrible. My worst nightmare, actually.
Aerobic capacity.
Yeah. I just think running is evil. But that's why I don't like soccer. So much running. They just run so much.
Running, I have to have a book or a movie to run. It's so boring. Savannah runs all the time.
Savannah runs. She's a runner, and I love that about her. There's been many times when we've stayed, like, a weekend together, and she'll just get up. She's like, I'm going to go run a quick mile, and she's back in, like, 6 minutes. I'm like, 6 minutes? You really just ran a mile, and you came back.
Also, her legs are the length of us. So that helps.
That's true.
No, incredible.
Savannah's a model, folks.
Yes. We make no apologies for how beautiful our friends are.
That's right. There's that study. This is if you're ever feeling bad about yourself. There's a study that people did that's like, you gravitate toward people who are like the same attractiveness level as you.
I love it.
There's a study where they had like the numbers on their head. It was just a randomly assigned number, but 10 was like the hottest and 1 was the lowest. And they were like, go group yourselves.
Yeah.
And so it was like all the higher numbers were together, medium numbers, and it wasn't like they were actually assigned. It was randomly assigned, but they all grouped themselves together, and it was like all similar numbers were in the same group.
It's so funny.
And so if you're ever feeling bad about yourself,
look around at your friends.
Look at your friends. Look how hot your friends are and say, yep, I'm in the right place.
I must also be hot. I'm in the right place,
folks.
This must be the place. Cute.
Yes. So anyway, the beep test. It's a way to measure aerobic capacity, Grace says. We run back and forth between two lines 20 yards apart. A beep starts the test, and you have to make it to the other line before the next beep. The first time you don't make it, you get cautioned. The second time, you're out. Every minute, the beeps get closer together. So the longer it goes on, the harder it is. It's more words than Phoebe has ever heard Grace say at once, including in post-game interviews. Phoebe could comment on it, but she isn't going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Sounds fun, she says instead. Girl, are you crazy? Becky asks. How does it possibly sound fun? What's not to like? I love running, and I love being better than everyone else.
Yeah. I love running, and I love being better than everyone else.
That is relatable. I do like being better at people than things.
Better.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I meant, folks. I'm sober today.
Yeah, I mean, we have no excuses at this point. But it's such a... Phoebe, well, we already said this, but she's the new girl on the block. Like, she's brand new to the team. This is an established team. I was a little confused about how the teams work. But.
So, I think it's kind of a loose, like, minor league, major league baseball structure. So, she was called up to the American team or whatever. From her college
minor
team.
League. Yeah. Oh, her college team.
I think she was called up from her college team. And then you basically are in this group and you can compete for a spot on the Olympic team.
Oh, and that's the World Cup.
Yeah. And then the crew is like the New Orleans-based women's soccer team. And
that's
so
the one that Grace is on.
Yeah, the national team will recruit from like other organizations.
Ooh, that's so interesting. Mm-hmm. Also, to just get like plunked into a team, like, now win.
Yeah.
Like, I just met these people.
I know.
I don't know how to play with them
yet. They're like,
yet.
go to New Orleans.
Best of luck. But
yeah.
no, Phoebe was thrilled.
And it's like, you're not even guaranteed a spot on that team. You have to earn it.
Yeah.
Like, they were
like
they're like, which one of these people can I replace? I have to be better than one of these people.
We understand American football.
Yeah, red shirting. It's exactly like red shirting.
It's red shirting. But it's such a, the competition was real.
Okay, so on page 22, y'all, this book is filled with sexy little bets, and I ate it up.
Very cute.
So they're betting on the beep test, and Grace is saying, if I win, you don't talk outside the drills for the entire day. Okay, ouch. Phoebe laughs loudly. It's easier to pretend to be in on the joke than to admit you're the punchline. So sad.
Like, we'll get into... Yes. Continue.
So what? If I win, you don't talk outside of drills for the entire day? That doesn't seem like much different from right now. Grace scowls. No, it doesn't have to be reciprocal. You can pick whatever you want. Kelsey replies before Phoebe begins to think of something. How about a kiss? Yes, Kelsey.
Kelsey is starting shit.
Yeah. The rest of the team fully stops now. Grace is still down on one knee, tying the lace of the shoe on her other foot. Phoebe can't help the grin that takes over her face. That's not usually something I have to bet for.
Whew.
Phoebe. She be flirting. Phoebe is a flirt.
Phoebe is definitely a flirt. So much fun. Down later on the page is doing well in camp is more important than kissing pretty girls. Well, both are important. Soccer and kissing girls are Phoebe's two favorite things.
Correct.
But she's not focused on girls right now. She's focused on making this roster.
That's right.
So fun.
It doesn't matter anyway, she says. I'm going to win. That's Grace. I'm going to win. Here's the thing, Phoebe says, and Grace absolutely looks at her mouth. She looks at her mouth and then immediately away before making eye contact once more.
Cute.
Phoebe smirks. You're not going to win. The flirting is so sweet. I love it.
So fun.
So Phoebe does win the beep test. She immediately vomits in the trash can. And she thinks that makes the bet void, but it sure doesn't. It sure does not.
It sure doesn't. And a kiss must happen. But it's gonna be just like a regular kiss.
It's gonna be totally fine and normal.
Like we already know that this is gonna be really laid back and platonic.
Yeah. Page 29. The bet was stupid, but Grace absolutely would have collected had she won. The idea of Matthews having to work so hard to stay quiet just because Grace said so sends a little thrill up her spine, even now. Grace.
Real dumb.
Which is interesting because that's not how she is
in bed
in their relationship.
Yeah.
I think she says, like, I normally am the one in control, but, like, now Phoebe's like, no.
I'm taller than you.
I'm taller than you.
She picks up Grace so many times.
She picks her up and just
plunks her places. It's very cute.
It's good. On the next page, so Grace she's gonna fulfill her end of the bargain. She's like, I'll be kissing.
Very serious Grace is like, no, I will. Mm-hmm.
We made a deal. I have to fulfill it.
Yeah.
She takes one more step into Matthews, ready to finally close the distance between them. It doesn't have to be on the mouth, Matthews says. One corner of her lips turns up in a lopsided smirk. She looks inordinately pleased. So proud of herself to have thrown Grace off her game. That's it. Grace is going to put this rookie in her place. Oh, it doesn't have to be on the mouth, Grace says. Okay. She leans closer still and brings her lips to the pulse point under Matthew's jaw. The skin is so soft there. Matthews lifts her chin and arches her neck, her hands coming to rest on Grace's hips. Grace sucks more than she kisses. It isn't strong enough to leave a hickey, though she's tempted just to make Matthews try to explain it at training tomorrow. She draws Matthew's skin into her mouth and bites it, gently, but not too gently.
Hot.
Matthews groans. She pulls Grace closer. So hot. So hot.
That is thorough.
Yeah.
That is an introduction into what we're working with here. Can we even say that's a kiss? That's just sex.
That was just sex. I know. Well, like, was it a kiss? Because, she's just sucked on her neck.
Yeah. Gives a little nibble.
A little bite.
Oh my
so
God.
hot.
It's so hot. She, in the empty hallway where no one can see her, she presses the back of her hand to her mouth. Fuck, what did she just do? Well,
Grace.
You just did something.
I think part of the fun part about people who are similar to Grace is, like, when they do lose control, so good.
Hot.
So good.
Because it's like they're so rigid. Not rigid, but, structured.
Yes.
Like, and then they're not. And Grace, she kind of loses some of that buttoned up.
We'll get to the spice. It is spicy as hell, y'all.
For sure.
And the thing about, like, lesbian sexual encounters, they last forever. They just keep... Because
it takes an average of 14 minutes to come.
It takes an average of 14 minutes to come. They're very thorough. And we don't have a refractory period because there's no penis involved. So we just keep going forever, folks. It's so good.
Yes, that's such a good point. Because it's not, I can go again in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is what some might hear in a... cis straight relationship. Anyway.
Which is sometimes that's a brag they cannot fulfill. It's like, okay, buddy.
But it's just straight out the gate. I can go again. I can go again. I bet you can. We'll circle back, babe.
You're in your 30s, friend.
Simmer down.
Page 57. One of the downsides of being a lesbian athlete is other women are always doing hot things around you.
Yeah.
That's got to be difficult. And, that's true of life, too. They're just hot women doing things.
Women are so hot.
Yeah. They're just hot women doing things in all places.
Yeah. We're beautiful. Sorry about it.
On the next page. So Phoebe is not shy about how, like, good of a flirter person she's like, no, I'm good at this.
A flirter person?
A flirter person.
She is a flirter person. Sure is.
I had a better word, but it escaped my brain immediately.
Flirter person covers it.
She's not shy about it. She's like, no, I like to flirt, and I'm really good at it.
As she should.
And, like, there's a time when they go to a parade, and there's a girl that's interested in Phoebe, and she's like, I wasn't planning on picking someone up, but I guess I will. She's like, I guess I'll just pick this one up.
Again.
It is
like,
wild.
This is just like, do you understand the confidence you have to move through this world with ADHD? You're constantly fucking everything up. And
no, you're not.
And people think you're so stupid. And so it's like, well, we're just going to lean into this, I guess. I guess we'll just flirt. Be a good flirter person. I guess.
Let us know if you want merch that says flirter person. A baseball cap. Flirter person.
I'm a flirter person. Because, like, flirter person is exactly...
pronouns she, her. It's a gender neutral.
Flirter person. It's like a... I just feel like if you're a flirter person, like, that's exactly how you would describe yourself. Flirter person. Because that's such a flirty, like, confident way to say that.
Yeah, can you tell that
you know what? That is the subtext in this joke. That's why we're calling it out.
Oh my gosh, I just have no experience, and I'm sorry, I'm a baby.
Can we put that in the review? Phoebe is such a good flirter person. Period.
Okay. I'm just a baby. I have no experience. I don't know how.
Yes, you've never been a flirter person.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't know what we're doing. Okay.
I don't know what page
Page 58. Phoebe has always had that's why, because I was she's confident. Phoebe has always had a lot of game, not in the soccer sense, or not just in the soccer sense. See, this is like reading this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in her brain. It's like, well, yeah, but no, also this too.
So that is something adorable that Meryl did. I love how they like split up, like Grace's short sentences, to the point, clear,
very concise thinking.
until she's confused, but clear. And then Phoebe, that honestly, it started to hurt after a bit. I was like, I don't like to read this. Like this, I feel called out. Felt like someone.
You didn't feel it like at home.
Remember when we read?
Oh no.
The what was the book with the letters? Abby Jimenez.
Oh, Abby Jimenez, yeah. Yours truly.
And you were like, I don't enjoy this. You're like, this isn't funny to me, actually. Then I'm like,
okay. The anxiety, I get it. I gotcha.
It's like, oh, that's
you mean you didn't feel at home reading about anxiety?
Yeah.
No.
Do I feel seen and heard? Yes, but not in a great way.
Phoebe always had a lot of game, not in the soccer sense, or not just in the soccer sense, but in the flirting sense. It's one of her favorite hobbies. It's fun to figure out how to flirt with different people. Phoebe can woo someone with compliments, or by laughing at their jokes, or even by pretending to be a damsel in distress. The way she flirts with Grace is her favorite, though. Annoying but charming. Irresistible.
Annoying but charming. It's like, Phoebe, it was always clear. Phoebe knew that she was pissing Grace off.
Oh, I know, doing it on purpose.
She was like,
I love that.
This is fun. Well, and again, like, you just have to embrace it. Like, Phoebe could either just mask and be who Grace wants her to be, which is not talking outside of the drill, you know?
Right.
Or she could just be like, no, I'm fully me, and you like it. You like me this way. That's very cute.
Yeah, I love it. She's like, no, you like this.
You like this. I'm funny. Exactly.
So page 89, I'm going to be so honest with you all. This is not a slow burn. 26% into this book, we are fucking, baby. I was good.
Definitely expecting it to take way longer.
I thought it was going to be a slow burn, especially since Hopi's the one who recommended it, because Hopi loves a slow burn.
I know. This was just straight out the gate. Well, and there was a whole bunch of like, I don't date.
I'm not looking for a relationship.
And then we went right into it.
It was like all of a sudden
we're
fucking
encounter.
in the locker room.
Yeah.
So good. Page 89. Grace has spent her entire life controlling herself. Patience, discipline, responsibility. She's an eldest daughter, a captain, a veteran of any team that she's on, a leader, a role model. She knows what she's supposed to do. Instead, she leaves her keys in her locker and walks over to Matthew's.
She says, "Fuck it, we ball." That's what the kids say.
What?
Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball?
Yeah. Isn't that from a rap song?
Sure. I don't know.
I know a pop culture reference that you don't know?
I haven't been around teenagers in a few days, so
this is probably a new trendy one. Gen Z, chime in. Fuck it, we ball. I'm 90% sure is the thing.
Should we ask the chat? My students be asked in the chat.
Yeah, can we ask the chat?
Well, one on
Drop
one.
it in the chat.
One-on-one in the office. I'll be saying something, and they're like, I don't know, I gotta ask the chat.
They say that. That's so cute.
Or my favorite thing is like, I'll be, doing my supervision. Kids are doing something stupid. Sure. I'm like, hey, whatever you're doing, don't do that. And they'll look at me and be like, let him cook. Last time we let him cook, he went through the trophy case. So no.
Let him cook?
Let him cook.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like rolling head on into the glass. Let him cook.
No, He's going to injure himself and others, but okay.
No.
That's funny. Also, don't tell me what to do, teenager.
I know. I'm like, whatever this is, I don't stop doing it.
Stop that.
Let him cook. I'm like, he needs to get out of the kitchen, baby. We're not.
But they don't appreciate it when we shoot back with stuff like that. They don't think it's funny.
No, they just roll their eyes at me, which is also a great response, and I love.
I enjoy teens.
Okay.
These are not these are consenting adults.
These are two adults who, man, they love to make each other come.
They really do. They enthusiastically.
Matthews grins, dimples as deep as the Grand Canyon. Her face must just be beautiful. So symmetrical.
I know.
I thought we weren't talking about it. Who's talking? Grace asks and kisses her. Matthews doesn't miss a beat. Her hands cradle Grace's waist, and she tilts her head for a better angle. She's somehow still smiling, even as they kiss. When her mouth opens and their tongues touch for the first time, Grace feels it in her toes.
It's love, baby.
Yeah. Matthews kisses like she flirts, like she plays, like she seems to live, as though she has never experienced a moment of self-doubt. And why would she?
And why would she?
There's nothing to worry about when it comes to how she kisses, at least. 30 seconds of lips and tongue and occasionally teeth, and Grace didn't think everything through before she first straddled Matthews, but she sure has now. They aren't leaving this bench until she makes Matthews lose control. Matthews breaks the connection between their mouths to kiss along Grace's jaw. I bet I can make you come first. Hot.
This is some dirty stuff.
It is dirty, filthy, using the word cunt.
I was just about to say, it's so hot for women to use the word cunt.
Yes.
With one another. Mileage varies when it's an MMC who's saying it, because I'm like, I don't know that I'm okay with you calling it that.
I agree.
This is my sweet potato. This is
wet hot sweet potato.
the wet hot sweet potato. This is, I don't know, and it's not that I want them all the men that I sleep with.
So many.
It's not that I want them to say something like, I don't know. It's just, but cunt for two women was hot.
That was, I loved it. Phoebe, she's so skilled at dirty talk. Her talking was, and Grace was like, she's still talking.
That was fun.
I love that. I'm like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the talking continues.
I'm cool with, I think pussy's okay. That doesn't really, I'm into that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It has to be the right situation.
Because it's and I mean, if someone knows what they're doing, like, let's build it up. Let's build up to cunt.
Yeah.
That's a pretty...
You can't come out the gate with cunt.
No, we really can't. we really can't. It's a strong one. It's packs a punch.
That's right.
It's a sturdy organ. As a TikTok said. You can go hard. It's a sturdy organ.
So true.
Sure is.
Phoebe wraps her lips around one of Grace's nipples, and Grace's hand shoots to the back of Phoebe's head, holding her in place. She says she wasn't interested in casual sex, and she knows her reasons. She does, but right now she can't remember a single one. You're so hot. Thanks, Phenom. Phenom, such a cute nickname.
Yes.
Because phenomenal Phoebe.
Yes, cutie.
Thanks, Phenom, but didn't we just establish there are better things you could be doing with your mouth than talking?
Yeah, really.
She's like, shut up and kiss me.
Come on. Shut up and kiss me.
Next page. Of course Matthews is a talker. When is she not? No, yeah, she be talking.
She's got things to say. I don't know. She's an external processor.
I love it.
It's nothing compared to what's going on inside of her.
That's
what I want to tell people. I'm
like, the filtered stuff.
These are the things that made it into English and out of my mouth.
Yes.
Do you know how many, like, just a sidebar in the middle of the sex scene. So I was trying to cook it. I was trying to cook. I was trying to read this book last night. I was trying to, what did they say? Let him cook.
Yeah.
I was trying to cook. I was trying to read this book last night, and I had no more paying attention chemicals in my body. I shit you not. I need you to know that I had to get on the treadmill and listen to a podcast while reading this in order to make myself pay attention.
So you had words coming in your brain?
Mm-hmm, and the sensory stimulation of walking in the humid heat on the treadmill. So for about an hour and a half, I walked uphill with a podcast in while reading.
Wow.
And that's ADHD.
And that's impressive because I simply cannot be taking any other media while I'm reading a book.
And you know what? Listening to people talking to you while reading is unhinged. But it felt right.
Let me tell you, these sex scenes last a long time, folks, because we just keep going forever.
As we should.
It's so hot. Of course, Matthews is a talker. When is she not? It doesn't normally work for Grace, but something about Phoebe's smooth voice, the way that she's making it about Grace, or simply the way she's touching her, Grace likes it this time. She tries to say yes, but it comes out as a moan. That's it. Phoebe sounds like she swallowed a handful of gravel. Let me hear you.
Hot!
So hot. I mean, it worked for me, folks.
It really, so beautiful. It was, and of course, we talk a lot about, like, filthy, dirty smut. This is filthy dirty. Like, this is super descriptive.
Oh, it's so descriptive.
Like, you know exactly what's happening.
There's nothing left to the imagination here, and I enjoy that.
Which is fantastic.
Page 97. So this scene started on 89-ish, a little before that.
Sure.
And we're on 97. We're still going.
Because they both have to come.
Multiple times.
Exactly.
It's two women,
It's
y'all.
two women. This is the magic of women loving women. WLW Smut.
Yes. Grace wants to be good for her. She never wants to stop fucking her. She wants to give Phoebe everything she wants. She's supposed to be keeping Matthews at a distance, protecting herself. There's no distance between them now. Matthews beneath Grace on the bench. They are in the locker room on the bench in front of Matthews' locker.
Hot. Steamy.
Matthews beneath Grace on the bench, two of Grace's fingers anchored inside her. Grace never should have let herself do this. Anything that feels as good as Phoebe complimenting her must be dangerous.
Yeah. And it is. You're playing with fire. She literally has fire on her head.
That's right. Next page. Phoebe opens her eyes to look up at Grace. Her brow is furrowed, pupils taking up most of her green eyes. She looks so desperate. Grace can't do anything but curl her fingers one more time and finally say something herself. Come. And Phoebe follows directions.
Whew! Grace found her words.
She found her words. A word.
And then, a word, and it was in fact the only word that was needed.
And then Phoebe eats her out in the shower.
As she should. Absolutely so hot. I also loved how there was a lot of like understanding that Grace's sensory not challenges, but Grace's sensory needs.
Yeah.
Were kind of centered here. And like it never really, it's only at the very end that they're like, Grace is curious if she could be on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you are,
She's
honey.
like scrolling through ADHD TikTok.
She's like,
and then she gets some like ASD TikToks and she's like, oh.
I'll explore that at some point.
Interesting. Something to think about.
For sure.
To consider here.
It's such a sweet thing. But the sensory moments were really clear here. So like we're obviously pointing towards an autism diagnosis for her, but it was such a cute like that Phoebe attuned to her sensory needs and was like, yeah, this is too much, not enough. Like she was very
so communicative.
Yeah.
And Grace is like, no, it's fine. Like whatever you're doing. And she's like, no, you have to tell me. Like,
yeah. She was really in tune with her body.
I want you to feel good. And I love throughout the book, they both have this like understanding of like, an orgasm is not really the goal here. Like we're just here.
Pleasure
like,
is the measure.
We're having a good time.
The measure of good sex.
Yeah.
It's about pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a conversation later where Grace is like, I'm trying. And Phoebe's like, I don't want you to try.
That's not the point.
I want you to just relax.
The point is connection and pleasure and fun. Like that's such a helpful little tidbit I love that we focused on that.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
I loved reading this, like, two women, because we be talking. We're having a conversation at every turn. Phoebe's like, let's talk about it. I've got something to say.
I'd like to communicate now.
I'd like to say something right now.
It's wild how, when you're not having to maintain a hard-on, how you can just have a whole conversation, because we're not watching it just during the convo.
Bummer.
Yeah. Women are great.
Page 116. It doesn't help that another reason Phoebe...
We're still going. 116.
Yes. Well, this is a little later on.
Oh, okay.
But Phoebe is constantly horny for Grace now, at all points.
As she should be. There was dopamine there.
Yeah. It doesn't help that another reason Phoebe is avoiding Grace is to avoid jumping her bones. Grace's hands in her hair had driven Phoebe crazy, and she cannot be horny at her first team practice. She is, though. It's competence porn watching Grace, or like leadership porn or something.
Grace likes it. That's the point.
Yes. Competence porn is so my thing. I love watching someone be good at something.
Just calmly confident about something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The competence, it allows you to rest.
Yes.
Because, like, they're good at it.
You got it.
And so you don't have to be good at that.
Yeah. You've got it.
Because they're good at that.
And just, yeah. Ugh.
There are so many things that, not unfortunately, but I've been with Jay for so long now that it's just like, I've never learned how to do that thing. Or, like, whatever. Because he does it.
He does it.
Like, even today, getting gas, I, like, pulled in, and I was, like, he likes it when I pull into, like, a specific, like, the one that's closest to the center. I don't know. He's like, this is the best gas pump to go to.
Okay.
He has his reasons, and he has explained them ad nauseum, and I don't want to hear them again, but I was by myself, and I'm like, no, I'm going to go to this one because he says that this is the right one to go to, and I trust that. So
okay.
It's competence.
Sure. Yes, it's like competence. I agree.
You have your reasons, and that's very cool.
Yeah, I don't want to use a drill. And I have someone...
Cars, I know nothing.
I took my cardigan oil change, and he texted me, and he's like, hey, your tire pressure sensor light is not working. I'm going to run to the tire shop. And
I
was like,
zoned completely out.
okay.
I'm a feminist, but wow.
Yeah. And then he texted me, and he's like, okay, you've got 2 new tires, and your tire sensor thing is fixed. And I was like, thanks. As I'm here on the couch.
Thank you.
I was like, that's amazing.
Great to know. You don't have to tell me about it. I just trust that you got it.
Yep, the tire sensor thing was flashing, and you know what? That seemed like not my problem. It seemed like a badge. I got a sticker on my dashboard.
So cute.
Later on down the same page, so Phoebe's talking about all the players on the team and how much she admires like all of their skills. And then the last one is Ash. There's Ash, their goalie, and Phoebe has to be careful not to seem too obsessed with them either because they were one of the first openly non-binary players in the league, and so Phoebe's kind of obsessed with them. Queerness equals coolness, in Phoebe's opinion.
True.
Yes, that's true.
It's true. Which, speaking of, Phoebe can't even tell if Grace is out. Okay, sure, maybe training is not the place. Grace feels like sharing her identity, but Phoebe and Ash have a huge... Yeah, it's cute how Phoebe figures out that, Grace isn't necessarily out.
Yeah,
and
she's clocked it. She's like, she doesn't really talk about her identity. Yeah.
Well, and we can respect. Yeah, it's an interesting theme. And she's saying, not that it matters. Grace doesn't have to be out. Phoebe is much more interested in why Grace refuses to admit she's injured. This is a theme we haven't mentioned yet, but Grace...
She's got a hip flexor strain.
Which she says is because she's getting older.
She's 26.
At 26. She's ancient. Dinosaurs are roamed the earth when she was born.
Man.
But
she's like, my body's aging.
She's like, no, I am older. And Phoebe's like, it's an injury, my dude.
You hurt your hip flexor, which is a very common injury. Just rest.
You
just
need
sit down.
To tell
sit
people.
the fuck down.
Get some real black and white logic reasoning here.
Yes.
But yes, anyway, it's all these little exchanges.
Okay, so page 133. So Grace is... I just unknowingly taking Phoebe on dates at all times. Like, she's like, let me show you around the city. And Phoebe's like, okay. And they're like going on the ferry. They're going to get beignets. They're dating. Yeah. Grace pays for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on dates.
It's so cute because I experience Grace as being, I don't know, because she's shorter. Like, but like, I think Phoebe experiences Grace as like, oh, you're this hot, older. Mm-hmm. This older woman. Like, you can take care of me.
Mm-hmm. Which I enjoy about Grace, for sure.
Fun.
Okay, so page 133, Phoebe, this is all Phoebe's perspective. And she's saying, who you're out to and when is always your own decision. But I don't know, I'm loud and obnoxious and gay. It's like my brand. Yes.
An excellent brand.
I love that brand. I mean, yes, queerness is coolness. We're surrounded by queer people a lot of the time. Gift.
I think I just feel honored that queer folks would be like,
want to talk to
come
me.
on in, Anna. I'm not cool. But it's just so sweet. Yes. I'm always like, thanks, y'all.
Thanks. On the ferry ride over, Grace told herself she didn't know Phoebe's character, but that's not true. And Phoebe's brand, as a player or person, is not loud and obnoxious and gay. Phoebe is fun. She's the class clown until you realize how hard she works. She's an unabashed flirt who is somehow also absurdly respectful, backing off the moment Grace said she wasn't interested. Yeah. Phoebe clearly loves being the center of attention, and yet, from everything Grace has seen, she's more likely to pass the ball than take a shot. Calling Phoebe loud and obnoxious and gay ignores all her layers and contradictions.
Yes. There's more to her than that.
Grace understands her.
Yeah.
She's like, well, and there's all these other things.
This isn't the only... Yeah, it can kind of... Well, and there's this theme throughout that Phoebe is... She's feels that she is only her worst qualities. Yes. It's like such a self-protective way to move about having ADHD is just to own it and be like, this is just who I am. Get over it,
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Ha ha ha.
Well, and it's a defense mechanism too for folks who
reject yourself before they reject you.
Yeah.
It helps. But it was really beautiful that Grace, quickly is like, no, you have more to you than that.
You have so many other things.
Yeah.
You are gay, but you're not loud and obnoxious.
You are loud. And you're sometimes obnoxious.
But there's contradictions here, too.
You're not a one-faceted person.
Yes. You share the ball. even if you want to be the center of attention.
Aww.
And that's beautiful. Page 160, we're going to do it again, folks. There is just heaping amounts of cunnilingus in this book.
So much cunnilingus.
And we love that on this podcast. Big fans.
It is just so predictable.
As flirter persons.
As professional flirter people. Flirter person? Flirter person.
Flirter persons.
Persons.
Yes.
Plural. Oh, we're both flirter persons? I can be a flirter person too?
Absolutely. Wow. This is the title you can claim for yourself. Claim it here. Now.
I want a pin.
Flirter person. Okay, we'll make them. Okay. Savannah, make us a pin.
We'll pay you.
Phoebe can't do this for long. She doesn't want the muted, protected feeling. She wants her tongue dragging directly through Grace's wet folds, and she wants to bury herself in Grace's smell and taste this and the sound that she makes. She hooks her fingers in the sides of Grace's panties and pulls them down. She was eating it with the panties on, folks.
Eating with the panties on. That was not the first time.
Always.
Not the last time.
Just dripping underwear.
There's a real, like her bra, Grace's underwear is simple. Heather gray cotton, and between her legs, there's a spot that's darker. The thought that she got Grace this wet already makes Phoebe clench. She inhales, licking her lips at the deep, musky scent. Mm-hmm. One day, Phoebe swears she'll take it slow, but today is about making Grace feel good, not making her.
Hell yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, and the next...
we know exactly what's happening at all times.
Oh, so good. I love it. Also, just communication all over the place. Anyway.
Yes, we love it.
Phoebe doesn't put her mouth where Grace wants it. You deserve this, she says, then sucks a hickey onto Grace's inner thigh. You work so hard all the time. She switches to the other thigh.
Yeah.
You deserve rest, baby girl. Always taking care of everyone else. Let me take care of you. At last, she licks straight up Grace's slit, finishing with her tongue circling her clit. She keeps her mouth close when she says, relax, Grace. Let yourself feel good. I'll get you there. I promise.
Goodness gracious.
Holy shit.
Snakes alive. This oldest daughter is being taken care of.
As an eldest daughter and a human who takes care of people for a living, that's pretty much what we want to hear.
That's just really all.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Like, just relax. I'll take care of you. You deserve this. Let me take care of you. It's
down
like
later.
porn in my ears.
Yes. Well, it's confidence. It's like, yes, thank you. Can someone else be in charge? She's used to being in charge, being intentional. The point of sex is to come, and that's what she wants to do. This is very black and white. Matthews told her she's not supposed to be trying, not supposed to be doing anything but feeling good. And it does feel good. Matthews knows what she's doing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. More focused now. Phoebe doesn't break away or pull back or give Grace a single moment of respite. Grace tips her head back, the top of it butting up against the arm of the couch, always on the couch. But she doesn't care. She barely notices, really, because there's nothing other than Phoebe's tongue, strong and wet, and Grace isn't trying to come at all. She just can't help it.
Amazing!
Woo! She's not even thinking about it. She's like, whoa!
She let loose, folks.
Yes. It's so hot. So a lot of spice early on and ongoing. I just ate it up with a spoon. Very, very good. And this is, the quantity and quality. We love to see it. Yes, quantity and quality. And even, like, there are some fade to blacks in here. Didn't even bother me because there's so much not fade to black. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be silly to have no fade to black. Right. Yeah. Page 226. Y'all know we love a small girl trope. So sweet. Grace has always been short, but never has felt particularly small. She's thicker than most soccer players, especially midfielders. It made her insecure when she was a teenager, but she likes it now. She's harder to take down, and she can stand her ground and win a ball in the air. Yeah, she's like, I'm fucking strong. I'm strong, yes. She can fuck another player up if she needs to. In Phoebe's arms, Grace feels small. She feels little and soft and delicate. Aww. Oh, I love. So sweet. While sex with Phoebe can feel heavy, it can also be silly or lazy or rushed. Tonight it's different from any other time they've slept together. Softer. It's still just sex, of course. Yeah, right. It's just sex. That's what they had agreed on. So it's not like there are feelings, not like that. No. They're just becoming better friends. That's it. Because Grace can't be catching feelings for her friends with benefits. Absolutely not. Yeah. Girl. Ma'am. It was just this constant through line of like, this is what we said, so this is what is. This is how life works. So, Katie Bird's enormous Kindle has just an entire page. This isn't even sex, folks. This is Girls Support Girls, and that's why I highlighted it. Amazing. So, on page 255, they're playing. So Grace is benched, and Phoebe is playing in Grace's spot. And Kelsey is being a bitch on the field. She's playing for the other team. It's kind of confusing. Anyway.
Not literally. Like, she's literally playing for
She's playing, yeah, this is not a gay
euphemism. This is not a gay thing.
And so...
Let her cook.
Yeah. Let me say whatever I want.
Let her be a flirter person.
And so Phoebe she's seeing the situation on the field, and she's like, I'm playing too far forward. This is not okay. I've got to back up. But then the coach is yelling at her to keep moving forward on the field, and Phoebe's like, no, I can't see behind me. Like, and so she plays forward like the coach tells her to, and then the other team scores, and it's this whole big mess.
She gets angry.
So then the coach gets mad at her for letting the ball get away, and she's like, but you told me. Yeah. It's very frustrating. And so Phoebe is saying, sorry, sir, it won't happen again. If it does, I'm benching you immediately. Ugh, what a jerk. Phoebe swallows the rock in her throat and stares at the floor. With all due respect, coach, blaming that on Matthews is bullshit. Phoebe glances up at Kayla, stone face, looking at their coach. With all due respect, Givon parrots scathingly. Yes, sir. Kayla gives a nod. You spend the entire half telling her to push forward, and you can't blame her for playing forward. Yes. That captain's armband seems to be giving you some misguided idea that you can tell me what I can and can't do, Givon sneers. I can and I will blame a player for being out of position and not making it back in time on the counterattack. And I, captain's armband or not, can tell you when you're wrong, Kayla says. Kayla, it's fine, Phoebe mutters. It's nice of her to say something, but she doesn't need to get in trouble for Phoebe's sake. Phoebe was out of position, that's true, and she's never had a coach so willing to lay blame on the player, but she isn't in college anymore. This is the big leagues. She has to play like it. Kayla makes eye contact with Phoebe. It's not. She turns her attention back to the coach. We played better with Matthews in more of a defensive role. If you let her play that way instead of yelling at her, she would have been there to stop the counter. Ooh. You can't have it both ways. I can bench you both if you'd like. If getting benched is the consequence for standing up for my teammates, I'm happy to do that,
Aww.
sir. Give the armband a Johnson. So she stands up and she's like, that was your fault. You told her where to go, and she was following your instructions. And you need to take responsibility for fucking up that play.
In front of everybody.
Yeah. Ugh. I loved it.
So good.
It made me tear up. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's such a, I mean, Phoebe is just used to, okay, whatever. Like, I can take it. But Kayla stood in for her teammate. And this is also, like, the story arc of her, like, fitting in with the big leagues and, like, feeling like she's part of a team.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. And so that is kind of the workaround that Grace and Phoebe have to play on the same team. Like I said, I don't really understand soccer, but basically they both play midfield, Grace and Phoebe. But Phoebe wants to move into a more defensive role in the midfield, and Grace plays an offensive role. So if they can remove the defensive position for Phoebe to fill in, that's how they can both play. Because right now they're both playing the same role, but Phoebe works better in a defensive role because she's big and she's strong. She can knock a player out.
She sure
and
can.
And she did.
She sure did.
And got kicked out of the game. Hey, I support it.
There's a red card involved.
There's a red card involved, but Kayla says it rallied the team, and they ended up tying the game because Phoebe got thrown out for shoulder checking Kelsey. Anyway.
You know, you sure did follow that pretty well. You sure did understand the soccer game.
Well, it was described.
With great detail.
I don't know what midfield means, and I don't know what defensive means. I didn't know that there was offense and defense in soccer. So,
so as a flirter person, you're saying that you did not. How did you think that soccer worked?
Well, so
if there's not a defensive and offensive, how?
I thought every player
You thought they're all
played
offense.
No, I thought they played both. I didn't realize that there was defensive players and offensive players.
No, that's how forwards, mids, and
I just thought they all just flipped roles. Like once the other team has the ball, okay, now we're on defense.
I guess that's football. That's American football.
Yeah, but there's different players play different roles.
Yeah,
because they're not all on the field. Because like in soccer, everyone's on the field at the same time. Defense, offense, we're all out there.
So interesting. Okay, I see how this mistake was made.
It's confusing.
It's straightened out now for the rest of your life.
That's right. Now I know. That's because of this book.
And that is fucking Kelsey.
Okay, so Grace basically tells Phoebe at some point that she's like, hey, like if your meds are not working, we need to get that straightened out because something's happening here.
My stomach, like, ugh,
I know.
You said that because it's so...
Well, I was uncomfortable because I'm like, clearly she has ADHD, but I would never tell someone they need to be on meds, or just assume that someone is on meds.
It is such, and Grace, like, in no way, and it gets cleared up, but Grace in no way meant it in a...
She just is like, she's like, my sister has ADHD, I see it all the time. It was just like a
cut and dry thing, but like, it is, there's so many mental health things, ADHD and autism, but ADHD is neurodiversity. Like, it is incredibly challenging, but it is a valid, what is challenging is to live in a neurotypical world.
Yeah.
If I was allowed to just be, I wouldn't need medication. Like, if the world wasn't structured how it is, I would be okay to just live and go and do and be. Mm-hmm. But it just sucks, like, that medication, which is it's super nuanced, because, I mean, I take a stimulant medication, but medication allows me to function in a neurotypical world.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts, is it's like, yes, it's a great, because, like, I do live in a neurotypical world. Like, I do need to function in this world. And it sucks that I can't just be here. Yeah. It sucks that I can't just, exist, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, work a job and be a person, and it's so layered, it's so complicated. Yeah. And I work with so many clients around it too, and so it's all valid. And just because someone gets an ADHD diagnosis doesn't mean that they'll want to take a medication. They may. It is helpful to honor and support your symptoms and help. I don't know. It varies so greatly for each person.
Yeah,
we want you to be well and balanced.
Yeah, and especially in teenagers, I see it so often in teens.
The hormones make it wild.
Yeah,
too.
who just can't take their ADHD meds because it represses their appetite, and then they can't eat. And like teenagers,
it's horrible.
Yeah, they have to eat to like maintain focus, and like their hormones are out of control. It's just like,
it's not a one size fits all answer,
right? And so they'll say that they don't take it. They'll take it during their school year, and then, I mean, they'll just lose a whole bunch of weight because they're not eating. Yeah. And then in the summer, go off their meds so they can, like, especially I've got some athletes who are like, during the year, it's really hard for me to bulk up for football season because I'm on these meds that repress my appetite and I can't eat anything.
I'm physically nauseous if I eat. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a... But then, like, I don't know. It's so layered. It's not... Medication is not a one-size-fits-all answer. And also, like, it's... The medication makes you... The hope and the conception is that it, like, makes you neurotypical. And I can confirm 100%. It does not.
No.
It in fact doesn't change much. It can be life-saving. It can make a huge difference, especially if there's a lot of depression going on with, like, unregulated dopamine and serotonin. But and anxiety can be off the charts. And it levels things. It makes it possible to do the work that you need and want to do. It makes it possible, but it doesn't fix or change something. Like, you still have to. It's just wild, y'all. And I will say, if I can provide some criticisms, that Meryl, and maybe it's because it's just a short book, and I don't know. It's layered, it's complex. I would be curious to see other people's thoughts on, like, it's kind of like having a female main character who, like, isn't sure if she wants to have a baby. I don't know. It's because this is ADHD as an identity, like child-free and motherhood is an identity. It's a role. It's an identity. Like, the story arc is, oh, I have all these things, but then I take medication and now I'm normal. And it's like similar to an FMC, like, oh, I don't know. Oh, but now I got pregnant and I'm finally happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not necessarily what Meryl said here, but I think the point of this plot device was that, like, Grace loves and cares for Phoebe and wants her, and saw that, like, it really helped Harmony.
Yeah.
But, like, if you've met one person with ADHD, you've met one person with ADHD. Like,
it's totally different.
So, I don't know. And I feel like Phoebe...
Well, even Phoebe was like, but I'm not hyperactive. Like, because Phoebe was like, I don't understand. She didn't know.
The shame is crippling.
Yeah. Well, it made me cringe. I mean, it's
tip of the iceberg.
It's the ASD too, where she was like, obviously, where just like no social cues at all.
She's like, this is just true.
This is a fact.
But like, I don't.
And you need medication. And he was like, what the fuck? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not disordered. And yeah, I mean, that's hurtful. It's to tell someone that, like, hey, you're different. Fix it.
There's a study. Yes, you're different. Fix it.
Yeah.
And that's why it was it was a great, I mean, this is kind of a third act breakup. They didn't really, but they worked it out. But it was very painful. But it's just, there's a study somewhere, and I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's like, by the time a child with ADHD is like in first or second grade in the school system, they receive like, if there was like a cumulative number and like a daily number, like every move that I make in a neurotypical world, I am viscerally aware of how different I am, head to toe, mind, body, and soul. It is so clear because I'm surrounded by people who are not wired like me. And I'm aware that I can't stand out. Like, I'm aware that I can't, because like, we're social creatures. We have to fit in with our social group. Yeah. It's survival. But like, I need, but like my mind, body, and soul needs something different, like whatever it is on that day, and mileage varies. Another thing is that folks who menstruate, your hormones greatly impact ADHD symptoms. So that's really fun. So it varies across the cycle. Like your symptoms will get worse or better or whatever, however you want to conceptualize it. But anyway, in a developing child's self-concept, that's what's interesting to me, is that like they internalize very early on that I'm not only different, I'm bad. I'm bad for being different.
Right.
And so Phoebe, I do like that Meryl highlighted that Phoebe like definitely feels the shame.
Yeah.
Like the shame is crippling. Like Phoebe is very much aware.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, basically what happens is like Grace is like, you need to be on meds, or she's like, your meds are not working, and then Phoebe's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then Grace, after they have this argument, she's so confused about their conversation.
Yeah, which kind of highlighted her neurospicy.
Yeah,
like, I don't understand. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I just want you to be well.
She was like, Phoebe's spending a lot of time at my house, and I watched her take pills, but it's not ADHD pills.
She takes omega-3s.
Yes, omega-3s.
Which is it helps so much.
She's like, but her ADHD is out of control, but she's not on meds for it. Maybe she doesn't know she has it. And so, like, it's like that meme of the face with the numbers, like, all across, like doing math.
And then she's like, well, if she's not tested, she should get tested. She should start taking medication.
Yeah, and she's like, I've solved this problem. And which she does. Like, she calls the team doctor. She calls the health insurance. She figures out who's in network. And which she then talked to her sister, which was really sweet. So this is after it all blows up. She talks to her younger sister, and her younger sister was like, this is how to approach this. Yeah.
As someone with this identity.
It's scary to go. She's like, yeah,
well, it's a complex executive functioning task. Like, you can't just
do it.
I was... how old? It was 2017 or 18. So I was an adult. And it was after, I mean, I had been all the way through undergrad. Like, it was very hard.
Yeah.
It was very hard.
Yeah, Harmony addresses that. She's like, yeah, it was super hard. And I had to work my ass off, but I did graduate, and here's what would have helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so from a relationship aspect, it was really beautiful.
It was really sweet, where she's like, okay, so she needs someone who's covered by her health insurance because she doesn't have enough money to pay for it. So here are the places you're going to go. And so she schedules the appointment, and she's like, here's all the information you need. If you want to, here it is. Yeah. If not, you don't have to.
I love you the way you are.
Yeah.
Like, that's... It was really... And then Phoebe was like, you would do that for me? And, and Grace was like, and this is something you've done before. You're like, it's like actually not... Like, you say it compassionately, but you're like, it's not... It doesn't take up that much space for me to do this complex executive functioning task. And I'm like, that would take me so long. Like, there are so many individual steps to get through. Like, it's hard.
Yeah. My barrier is the anxiety that happens when I have to call. I can do it.
Sure.
It takes me like 1 minute to do it, but I have to work up to it.
Sure.
Practice my speech,
And different barriers, but... it's tough to be a person.
It is. It is. So this book is so sweet. I love, everybody has like great relationships with their families, and it's summer fun, folks. Like, truly warm, fuzzy feelings. And so Grace is having this conversation with her dad because she's like, I don't know if soccer is even really for me. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah. Because she doesn't want to be captain anymore. She's like, wait, people listen to Kayla because Kayla stands up for them. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to talk in front of people. Hell no. I'm not doing that. And she's like, Kayla can keep the captain's armband, but do I want to play soccer still?
Yeah. Do I want to play soccer?
Yeah. And she's talking to her dad.
Oh, this was such a sweet conversation.
And her dad says, You're my kid and I love you, and you've always loved soccer, her dad says. If you loved horses, I would have taken you to the Kentucky Derby. If you loved the stars, I would have sent you to space camp. Or if instead of astronomy, you loved astrology, on every call I'd ask you about Mercury retrograde, or I don't know, anything else about astrology, really. But I would if you loved it. And that's what I'd ask you about, and that's all it is. If you don't love soccer anymore, quit. We'll come up with something different to talk about.
Because she literally is like...
She's like, this is what we talk about.
Dad, what would we talk...
I talk to you about soccer.
It was just such a black and white, such an adorable way to... And he's like, no, I talk to you about soccer because you love soccer. Like, we'll find something... Oh, it was just exactly what she needed to hear.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, her dad's like, I learned about soccer because of you, not because I love soccer. I know. It's so sweet.
Like, if this was a movie like that, would have been like
tears.
The scene crying.
Yes.
Oof.
So then Grace does set up the whole, like, doctor's appointment thing for Phoebe. And Phoebe is like, she's obviously super honored and she just loves it. And so she says on page 285, and then Grace has to go and basically write poetry about the worst parts of her. Yeah, she has no words for how that makes her feel. So she focuses on making Grace feel good, not on making her come. Phoebe wants to, sure, but sometimes Grace is too in her head, and that's okay. An orgasm isn't the ultimate goal here. This is about making Grace feel as good as possible for as long as possible. And this is about how Grace made Phoebe feel, saying what she said. Grace loves the parts of her that Phoebe hates about herself.
Aww, it's so beautiful.
It's so sweet.
It is so... Yeah, there's a big socioeconomic status element through here, too, of, like, I can't afford.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford this.
Grace has all these sponsorships. She's got a lot of money. I mean, she's a famous veteran soccer player.
She grew up having access to resources, and Phoebe didn't. And it's, like, I love that we brought in that thread, too, because, like, Grace assumes that this is just...
Like, we're on the same
team. Just get diagnosed and get medication. And Phoebe's like, that's not actually how
There's some other barriers here.
Like, that's their... It's not that simple. And so it's just really important to consider folks' individual experiences.
Yes. Well, and, like, I love that Phoebe was like, when they were, Grace was like, oh, let's go grab dinner after this. And Phoebe was like, hey, you can't just spring dinner on me because I have to budget for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, she was so communicative.
They're
She's
learning
like,
about each other.
Yes. She's like, hey, if you want to have dinner, that's fine. Just let me know a couple days in advance so that way I can budget for it.
So I can plan for that.
Yeah. She's like, I've already made food for the week. I've spent money on groceries. Like, very clear communication. And Grace is like, okay, I will pay for it.
Noted. It's just such a, like, when you love someone, or even when you're in a healthy platonic relationship with someone, you talk about it. And it's great to be different. It's being variety is the spice of life. Like, it's great to be different. It's great to have different strengths and backgrounds and whatever. We just can respect and enjoy that about one another.
Exactly.
So fun.
Like on page 287, Phoebe is saying, well, I can focus on some stuff. Like, if I have ADHD, then why can I focus on eating your pussy for as long as you'll let me? Phoebe, Grace says, people with ADHD can focus on stuff that interests them.
Phoebe doesn't know enough about ADHD to debate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grace is like, no. You can focus on things that you like.
You like this about me.
You like to go down on me.
It's so cute. It's such a... I mean, wherever you go, there you are. Like,
yes.
You are your own self within. And so there's this shared experience that a lot of folks with ADHD have if they're diagnosed in adulthood, especially, because it's like, doesn't everyone think this way? It's just so... It always stands out to me that people consider something that they just think that it's something that's bad about them.
Right.
I'm just bad. I just can't be
I'm
anywhere
just not
on
ever
time.
going to be good at this. Yeah.
I'm a bad person. I'm just shameful. And for Grace to be like, no, like, this is ADHD, and because this is the power of a diagnosis. Like, diagnoses are complicated, but this is the power of that, because if we can say this is how you're wired, then it kind of like externalizes it a little bit, and it's like, oh, this is my responsibility to navigate, but I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
This is ADHD.
It's not my fault. My brain came this way.
My brain came this way. This is something to celebrate and enhance. And it's like, if you were short and couldn't reach the top shelf, you're not a bad person.
I have a step stool in my kitchen.
You have a step stool. You just can't reach the top.
Or a very tall partner.
You have a tall partner.
Yes.
I
planned that.
But like, people who grow up like with this perspective, internalize this idea that they're just bad. And Grace is like, no,
No.
I'm a bad person.
You're
You
not
just
bad.
need a step stool sometimes. That's okay.
That's okay. We need access.
Or we just don't use the high shelves. There's so many ways.
Yes. The stuff that's in our high shelves, I don't even know what's up there.
That's none of your business.
No.
That's where all those little individual sauce cups are. And his egg, all of his
egg cooker.
deviled egg.
The deviled
egg containers. Mm-hmm. The oddly specific
and
kitchen gadgets.
And INTJ. Love him. Love him.
So fun.
Okay, so y'all know this book has a happy ending.
Of course.
They come to this realization that, like, oh, we're together. Phoebe has thought their
That was so cute.
Phoebe was like, we're girlfriends the whole time. In her head, she's like, my girlfriend is Grace Henderson. Super psyched about it.
And she was just joking about, like, we're not together.
Yes.
Like, it's too bad that you don't want a relationship.
Joking because they had to talk about being exclusive.
Wink,
and,
wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes. And Grace was like, yeah.
Grace was like, oh, no.
Oh, man.
She doesn't want to be with me.
And so Grace, like, sits her down and she's like, I think I'd like to be in a relationship with you. And Phoebe's like, well,
she made this grand gesture and like
Yes.
had this article and this interview and all this and like I'm gonna ask her out.
I'm going to ask
And
out
Phoebe
this
was like, we've been together. What are you talking
We've been together
about?
for 2
silly?
months.
What a way to find out.
I love it. So Grace has made a decision for her soccer career where she's only going to do the things that she likes to do, which is play the game. She doesn't want to do media.
She doesn't want to do
She
that.
doesn't want to be the captain.
So that's affirming her neurodiversity as
Yes.
well. Like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. So I'm going to play the game that I like to play. I love playing soccer. I'm good at it. I'm strong. But I don't want to be the captain and I don't want to do media.
I don't like the star stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I just want to, and it like the whole time when you're in Grace's perspective, like her being the center of attention or getting any kind of like celebrity status makes her deeply uncomfortable. Like,
And she doesn't have to do that.
like her skin starts itching. Like I can feel it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's her nightmare, but she
Yeah.
wants to play soccer. Mm-hmm. It's so...
So she does like a final exclusive interview where she's like, I'm a lesbian. I like this girl. I'm going to ask her out. And Phoebe's like...
and I'm not doing any more press.
the end. And Phoebe's like, so, we've been together for like 2 months, right?
She just laughs at her. She's like, what?
And Grace is like, you did want me to meet your family. That's
just putting the pieces together. Oh my God.
So good. So page 319, this is my last note. Phoebe says, this is going to be a story we tell at our wedding that people aren't going to believe is true because you are so ridiculous.
Grace freezes up. Oh shit.
Our wedding?
Forget I said that.
Yes. So this book, it's so warm, so fuzzy.
It is.
So that was, that's my last note. That was Cleat Cute.
Cleat Cute. It's a sweet one.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about the...
It was interesting because I feel like it was maybe in some ways because I'm thinking of books that we've reviewed, because you couldn't possibly understand unless I relate it to something that you just believe me. I don't have to over-explain. Over-explaining is an ADHD thing as well. In some ways, this is like the anxiety book, the yours truly.
Yes.
And even Happy Place. Like, when it's not the inside of your brain, it's like, oh, this is like a great, I love, like Red, White, and Royal Blue. I'm not a gay man.
True.
So I loved, like, that was not activating or like sad. Like, I empathized deeply with their experience and celebrated and like loved it. And it was so beautiful to like, such an honor to witness these characters' experience. Loved it. And felt like it was handled really beautifully. But it didn't like, I couldn't relate because that's not me. Mm-hmm. And so I love reading about things that are less close to home.
Okay.
I think it was hard. And I imagine that other folks, that was not the intention of Meryl at all. It was written in a very lighthearted way.
Yeah, for sure.
It was always lighthearted.
It's a romantic comedy.
Yeah, it was always very sweet. But there was just some heaviness in hearing how hard it was for Phoebe. And I think late diagnosed ADHD I just have such empathy for folks because because that was me. And you go your whole life thinking that you're really bad and thinking that you're broken and coming up with all these parts, all these ways to mask and apologize for it and laugh it off. And then like all along there was a diagnosis, like there was a reason. There was a reason. Mm-hmm. And then there's grief in that because it's like, oh shit. Like, who could I have been? Where could I have gone? How could things have been different? And all those all that time lost. And so, I don't know. I was, the only reason I was like, ADHD, me, was because I listened to a podcast, and I listened to a girl who literally, this was not the topic of the podcast, but she said it was something along the lines of like, I felt dysregulated, and she like named like the different, just like a couple of symptoms. I'm impulsive sometimes, and I talk a lot, and yeah, it's my ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a little girl, and it clicked, and my stomach just dropped because there's such a stigma. Like these are not cute traits for women. Being a good woman is the opposite of this, actually. Like being a good woman, wife, mom, cis het, white, straight, everything is being organized and being really good. Being on your best behavior, sitting straight. Like we could cite all the feminist everything. And having ADHD is not ladylike. And I was socialized as a very like super, biblical womanhood. And so I felt like I was broken and too loud and not meek and mild. Like I always felt broken.
Yeah.
And so in some ways it was really beautiful. It's beautiful to see Phoebe walk through this, but it was like, ooh, it just hurt. It hurt that she's young and lovable and wonderful, and this isn't anything to be ashamed of, but she should have had earlier intervention to get the support that she needed.
Yeah, it's also like...
She's not broken.
She didn't even know that there was something different. She was like, I'm just here.
She just thought she was bad.
Yeah.
Like, because if there's not something
like,
different, you just think that you're a shitty person.
Yeah. She's like, I don't have any concept of time. I don't understand. Like, I'll set 1,000 alarms for myself, and I still can't make it.
But then people are still going to say, be on time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't understand how fucking hard it was to get here at the time I did.
Yes.
But you have to laugh it off, and so people think that you're not serious. And it's like, no, like today, like the podcast equipment, this is a great example, and I hope this helps people. Maybe it will. Maybe they'll feel seen and heard. But like, I needed to bring the podcast equipment to your house today, and I set 4 alarms, and I walked out the door and remembered the podcast equipment. Because it was downstairs. And I was trying to get ready to go to this class, and I needed to have like several things, and like there's so much data, but it's like it takes 4 times as long to do the same task that a neurotypical person can do because of all the fucking distractions. Highly medicated over here. I use all the interventions. I still have ADHD.
Yeah, it's still there.
I'm me. And so I can work with that. And basically, I love that Phoebe surrounds herself with people who... I love that Phoebe has soccer.
Yes.
Because soccer is a great environment. Like, she's in her hyperfixation lane. And so that is what makes the difference.
Yeah, that's really very sweet.
Sorry, that was a monologue. But that is how I felt about this book, was, ooh, this is beautiful. I love, the romance was absolutely so sweet.
Super, super hot. Like, gorgeous.
From the first chaos moment of Phoebe, I'm like, okay, this person has ADHD. I didn't know anything about the book, but I'm like, oh no.
Yes, I know. And she was like, my thoughts jump around. Anyway.
I was like, on the nose.
I know. There was like one line where she was like, all I can think about is like Grace's whatever. And then she's like, well, no, that's not all I can think about. I'm thinking about other stuff too, but that's always there.
That's one of the lines of thought.
It's like, that's the song that's playing. It's like Grace, 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 Grace. And then there's all these other things happening too.
There's a few, and TikTok, I love that they mentioned TikTok, because TikTok is what has opened up awareness for sure around ADHD. It's misdiagnosed sometimes, but it's not often. Like, people genuinely have ADHD, and it's been undiagnosed because women especially learn to mask
for sure.
really early on, because we're not allowed to be chaotic.
They're like, shh, calm down. Like,
calm down.
Yeah.
Sit like a lady. Stop it. Whereas boys can, anyway.
That's just a silly boy.
This is a silly boy being a silly little goofer, easy booger.
Silly.
And even careers for men have accommodations for, like, careers for men often, like these male-dominated careers, like, they're allowed to be hyperactive and inattentive. Like, anyway.
Like, they have basketball goals in their fucking offices.
Yeah. All day, every day, therapist.
Dated boys who were her own age with dartboards on the backs of their doors.
Yes, like, they're allowed to play. They have meetings on the golf course.
Yeah.
Like,
business meeting on the golf course. Yeah.
It's a hot button issue. And I listened again to a podcast the other day that had, it was called she somebody was asking a psychiatrist about, did you see this couples therapy? Did you see this documentary on therapy? And she said, it's a bit of a busman's holiday. And I was like, what is this phrase? And they asked, and a busman's holiday is like you drive a bus, but for a living, but then you take a vacation and you take it on a bus. And so in some ways, this book felt like that for me.
So it was like, I'm reading this for pleasure, but it feels like work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a beautiful book that I would recommend.
Oh, for sure.
But it was like, this is what I work with in people all day. This is what I battle. Like, it's not broken. It's not a problem, but it's just there all the time.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, if it makes you, like, feel better or, more comfortable.
Like a flirter person.
When I was reading it, I was like, this is my friend Anna. Aww. And it made me happy. I was like,
it's just so hard to believe that people would love me the way I am.
I was like, oh, this chaos agent came in and I'm like, oh my God, Anna's here.
This is Anna.
And I was like, and like anytime people would do something like chaos or like say something hilarious or, show up late, I'm like, oh, Anna's here.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I think as I have grown, I have learned that like people genuinely, this does not bother them to the same extent that it bothers me.
You're just aware of it.
Yeah.
And I feel that way like when I, the other day when I was like, I'm really worried that Brandon's going to be late for work.
We're like, no.
And like
Brandon was like, that's mine to worry about. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. And I was like, as I'm sending the text, I'm like, you're being overbearing, you're being overbearing, you're being overbearing. But I can't stop it.
No, like both of us were like, that's a good point. I think we're good. Thanks for letting us know.
Brandon's like, don't worry about it. I'll go in late. It's like, okay.
Well, and I think he said it in the text, but he was like, this makes me feel cared for. Thank you for caring. No shame.
I know, but I was like, oh my God.
This isn't dumb.
You're the worst.
But exactly, you ruined everything.
I ruined everything.
But like, I think, it's just wild how like it takes up so much weight for me. Like it brings up all my parts. We're like, I'm a mess. But for other people, they're like, no, this is it's not a mess. She'll get here when she gets here.
Yeah.
She'll make a list.
No, we budget for Anna time. I'm like,
everyone knows. I will get there. Every job I've ever worked knows that there's Anna time. It's just a problem. But that's very kind. This was a main part of this entire book was Phoebe's ADHD.
Yes.
This was a thread.
That's a thread.
So.
That's your warning.
Which is, I mean, Meryl handled it in a really beautiful way.
Yeah.
I appreciated everything about it, though. That was a good one.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I enjoyed it.
Cutie plot.
Yep. I read it super quickly. Super easy to read, easy to get through. Super hot smut. Just dripping with...
It's actually dripping.
Yeah.
This was really hot smut, and I wish there was a way to, like, call it something. I mean, it's just lesbian smut, but like I wish there was a way to find more smut like this.
Yes, like across the board, like
with whoever.
Yeah,
but like
women, men, both, like any.
This is so like what do we call this? Dirty smut.
Dirty fucking.
Like I don't know, locker room smut.
Yeah, locker room smut.
Like how do we hashtag?
So Fangirl Down, which is one of the newer Tessa Bailey ones,
okay.
the golf one. He does fuck her in the locker room, and it is super hot.
What is it about locker room?
I would put that in this category.
Okay, Fangirl Down.
Yeah.
You've recommended it a few times.
Yes. If you care,
it's the golf that's the turn off.
If you care about golf, don't read it because the golf is not accurate, or so I've heard. I don't know anything about golf, but I have friends who have partners who are very into golf.
So
do
golf.
it professionally.
So golf.
So just golf. Ken's job is golf.
Ken's job is only golf.
And
again, Ken's job is a game. Like
yes, your job is game.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You work on the fucking golf course. Okay.
I'm not saying that men with ADHD have it easier, but like there are some intersections of identity that.
Your job is a game.
The patriarchy has made it.
Yes. And anyway, I'm glad you make money doing that. That's great.
Good for you.
Yes. So if you're interested in golf and you think that, and you have feelings about whether or not golf is accurate, maybe don't read it. I don't know.
Maybe not accurate.
He makes it to the Masters after sucking for a really long time. Apparently that doesn't happen. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, that's not why
I'm here for the smut, baby. Enemies to lovers.
Let him cook.
Yeah,
let him cook.
Let Tessa Bailey cook, y'all.
I'm gonna integrate that into my day-to-day Let me cook. Let her cook.
When they're like, Miss, let him cook. I'm like, okay, Braxton.
Braylon.
Yeah. With an A-E-L-Y-N.
Oh my god. We can't with their names.
Your name is Braylon.
Okay, how would we rate our FNCs?
5s across the board. Streets and sheets.
Yeah,
Love them. I mean, they both know what they're doing in the sheets. They're both
hot.
Great in the streets.
And they grow as people across the
They're
story.
learning about themselves. Grace is like, oh, I've also learned some stuff about myself by...
Very sweet.
And, like, the TikTok thing was something that Phoebe was like, I love TikTok, you should get on it. And Grace is like, that's not my thing. But then she did it for Phoebe, and she was like, oh, I've actually learned some stuff about you and about me.
I love when she brought in the goofy, it was some, like, did you hear about this thing? She, like, walks in without starting the conversation, without
like,
saying hello.
Do you think DB Cooper's alive? And Grace is like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Do you know how many conversations I've started just like,
let me tell you a fact I've learned.
Do you think? I had this urgent thought that I need to communicate. It was just really sweet. It was a sweet, and that's what you mean by, like, this was a sweet, giggly, fun.
Yes, kicking your feet. It's super, super sweet.
Yes.
So if you're into a little women loving women smut,
if you've never read one, this is a great one.
It's a great one. The smut is so good. The story is super beautiful and sweet, and there's some great representation of identities and
there's a lot about soccer. If you
like Ted Lasso, you'll like this book.
If you don't love soccer, you can also just kind of go real fast to those games.
You can be like me and be like, I don't know what midfielders are.
It's in the name, but I don't know. What could they possibly be doing in the middle of the field?
I know what a goalkeeper is.
There's a goal, and they sure do keep that.
Yes. I loved Ash, the goalkeeper. They were like, I just have to remind myself that 10 other people had to fuck up before it got to me. So
that's such a good... I read over that part. Skimmed right past it. That's so funny.
Yeah, because Phoebe's like, hey, that wasn't on you. That was all us. And Ash was like, no, I know. Y'all had to fuck up before that ball...
10 people!
Had to fuck up before that ball got to me.
Then I'm the last resort.
I'm the last line of defense here.
That would be a fun... That was Jay's position, was goal cute.
He'd be good at that.
He was excellent at it.
Just bouncing around in the goals.
You just bless him.
All right. Well, that was our review of Cleat Cute. Highly recommend.
Sports, women, Neurospice.
It's got it all, folks. We hope that you are celebrating Pride Month in a way that feels genuine and right to you. We love Pride Month here on the podcast.
We have a lot of local fun things here.
Yeah, every month should be Pride Month, folks. We're prideful year round.
Exactly.
And by we, I mean our queer friends, and we're here to support.
Hey, being an ally is an important role that we take great delight in.
Yes.
Yes. It's an honor.
So the new Allie Hazelwood comes out in a couple of days. So
yes, Not in Love.
Not in Love comes out on June 11th. So we will probably do that one next.
I think I'm going to get the physical copy. Should I get the large print?
You should get the large print, like a Bible, holding it up. So be on the lookout for Not in Love coming your way super, super soon. Just a heads up, we are going on vacation in a couple weeks. So if we are a week behind in episodes, that is why.
We're going to bring the podcast equipment with us.
We'll record a short and spicy, that's for sure. We don't have 5 mics, which is going to be a problem.
Damn it.
So you've got all 5 hosts will be present.
What will we ever do?
Anyway, thank you all.
I think we'll figure it out.
So much for listening. You can follow us on socials at Smut is Better with Friends. Send us your thoughts, comments, suggestions, feelings to smutisbetterwithfriends@gmail.com.
Yes.
And until next time, tag yourself. I'm the flirter person here. Bye.
Bye.